Good morning and welcome to Peace Out, where we are all learning together to peace out. We're learning there's a process, not a button, right? It's not a destination. It's a continuum over time. We continue to go back to God and trust Him for peace. Man, check out my books on Amazon. I got Buy Me a Coffee, where you can support the Pakistani publishing. All the funds that come through there, support that. And there's extra books on there that are not. I'm fixing to put a new one on there today. It's not on Amazon. You're going to find everything on Amazon. You have to find some of them on Buy Me a Coffee, right? You buy me a coffee, you give me stars. I got Cash App. Anyway, enough about all that. So here we are. I was looking this morning. I was reading some different scriptures. I was actually reading what David said as he was dying, like his final words about how he trusted God and some different things. And I started thinking about all the things David went through in his life. So many different things that he went through. And how he killed Goliath, and how he had his mighty men, and how he was a warrior. And just, I was thinking about all these things. And then I found myself in Psalm 56, because David admitted being afraid. David, King David, the man after God's own heart, man who, as he's dying, is saying, God anointed me and God used me, and I trusted Him for my life. You know, this David declared at the end, you know, God set me up as king. He knew he had an intimate relationship with God. He's the one that wrote Psalm 139, or we spend a lot of time in Psalm 139. And yet in Psalm 56, verse 3, he says, but when I am afraid, I put my trust in you. And I'm like, David was afraid. David, the dude that said, what do you get if you kill that giant? You're not talking about my God like that today, and ran out there with 5 stones, fearlessly took down Goliath. And so I started thinking that one experience wasn't enough to help him avoid fear the whole rest of his life. He didn't take down Goliath and then never have fear again. Never face another circumstance where he was like, oh, well, there's nothing. You don't even hear him reference the giant. You didn't even reference Goliath. It was like Goliath never even existed. And Goliath happened when David was really young. Right? He fought so many other battles over his life. And so just taking down that one giant didn't exempt him from struggle. It didn't exempt him from fear. It didn't exempt him from going into another battle. He just said, what time I'm afraid, and this is post-Goliath, after Goliath, when I'm afraid. He still got afraid sometimes. He still had questions sometimes. Taking down Goliath didn't set him for life, and then he just sat on his throne and never did anything the rest of his life. That didn't happen. He still had battles. Even, as a matter of fact, after Goliath is when Saul got jealous of David and began to chase him and tried to kill him. So he's not just somebody after him. The king is after him. The King Saul is trying to kill him. Right? And he's chasing him down. That's why he wrote Psalm 31 when he's hiding in the back of a cave from Saul. He faced many enemies. He had many fears over time. He had many struggles over time. Taking out that one giant wasn't the end all. Right? And sometimes when we come out of a good battle, we feel like, whoo, we can take on the world. We got that one. You know, we just got Chris out of the hospital last week. I'm like, oh, okay, one down. But it doesn't mean that there won't be something else this day that I will need to trust God for. It's a continuum. We take out a giant here and there. We stand on faith, but we have to do it every single day, because there's always something else coming at us. You know, David goes on to say here, he says, but when I am afraid, I put my trust in you. Oh God, I praise your word. I trust in God. So why should I be afraid? It's like he's questioning his own emotions. Now, I know none of us have ever done that. You've never said, I don't even know why I feel this way. Why am I so scared? It's not that big a deal, but it feels like a big deal. Or I don't know why this is bothering me so much, but it's just nagging at me. It's digging at my emotions, right? But he's saying, when I'm afraid, I will trust in you. Why am I afraid? Why am I afraid? Right? And then he says, what can men do to me? What can mere mortals do to me? He goes on, he talks about them twisting his words and coming together to spy on him, watching his every step, trying to kill him. He had a real physical enemy that was trying to wipe him out, right? And then he goes on down, he says, You have collected all my tears in your bottle. I thought that was interesting. And I want to I'm going to think about that a little bit today, because, my tears are never public. You're not going to see me out crying here. And, if I cry at all, it's going to be a private, and I hardly ever even cry. But it doesn't matter how much I cry or how little I cry or how often I cry, or if I cry at all. God captures every single tear with his hand. He gets it. He gets every emotion behind that tear. He gets the fear emotions too. He gets it when we're afraid. Even though we took out Goliath when we were a kid, doesn't mean you're never going to be afraid again, right? He said, you've collected all my tears in your bottle. You've recorded each one of them in your book. That's pretty amazing, because that means God is up close and personal with us. He knows when our emotions are triggered. He knows when we're having a mental health issue. He knows when our emotions are all twisted and turned and stretched. That's mine. I don't know about yours. That's mine, right? He knows exactly what we're going through and exactly how he feels. As a matter of fact, he gets it better than we do, because we don't always have words for what we're really feeling. Sometimes that's the struggle, is I just need to get this out in words so I can explain what I'm feeling, because I don't even know what I feel about this. I don't even know how to express this. The loss of a loved one, or any other loss, any other stress or strain that you go through. Sometimes there's just not words. And God gets every single tear that comes from your soul, not just from your eyes. He gets it, and he captures it. And that's when he can replace it, if we let him, with his comfort, with his peace. He just steps in, right? And so David goes back and says, every day I'm calling to you for help, God, so that my enemies will retreat. This I know, God is on my side. I will praise your word. I trust in God. Why should I be afraid? Man, and that's just about half of that psalm, right? That's a real short one, but he was saying, when I'm afraid, I'm going to trust in God. But why am I afraid? But it's okay. I'm afraid. I'm going to trust in God, but I don't know why I'm afraid, because I'm trusting in God. And sometimes we catch ourselves in that emotional dichotomy. It's like, I'm afraid, but I'm trusting God, and I'm not afraid, but I am. And you know what? God gets it. He doesn't go, well, figure it out and come back. He just goes, I got you. I got you. If you got tears, I got them. You got a big, heavy sigh? I get everything behind that sigh. Every emotion, every thought, every feeling, I got it. Because I got you. That's what God says. So we may have a big victory today. Maybe we'll take out a giant in our life, something that's coming at us. Maybe it's financial, maybe it's emotional, maybe it's a relationship, maybe it's career change, maybe it's a big giant standing in your way, and you're going to take it out today. It doesn't mean there'll never be another struggle. Enjoy the victory. Enjoy those victories. The thing is, the more we trust God, the more victories we'll enjoy. The more we'll trust along the way. David had many victories. He won many battles, but he also lost a few. The one that comes to mind is the one in Ziklag. Remember Ziklag? And it's like he went to fight with them, and they came in and wiped out the whole city and took away the women and the children and burned the city. And he came back, and then everybody's mad at him going, it's your fault, David. He had a whole bunch of defeats in that day. And then he went, you know what? Should I go? He encouraged himself in the Lord. He said, God, so this is key. God, do I go? Takes my stuff back. And God said, go. And God never sent anybody into defeat. He always set them up for victory. David went back and recaptured everything and ultimately won that battle. But it didn't mean he didn't suffer loss. It didn't mean he didn't cry. It didn't mean he didn't have those emotions that came with coming home to see everything wiped out and burnt, his women gone, his children gone, his animals, everything's gone. And it didn't save him from that emotional strain, but he ended up with a victory. But just because he killed Goliath didn't mean he never had another battle. And we could take out a giant today. And here's the coolest thing. We could take out those giants today through the help of God, right? It's not on our own. We could peace out today. That doesn't mean something else won't come. But you know what? When something else comes, we're just going to peace out again. We're just going to trust God again. It's this beautiful cycle of, oh no, thank you, God. Oh no, thank you, God. Oh no, thank you, God. Why am I afraid? Why was I afraid? We have to work through those emotions. Doesn't mean we're not trusting God to work through those emotions. We feel fear. It doesn't mean we're not trusting God. David's even asking himself, why am I afraid? God's got me, but I'm still scared. God's got me, but I'm still a little bit worried. God's got me. I'm trusting God, but these things are wearing on me. And God gets that. He didn't go, no, I can't help you today. No, I'm not going to help you till you get it all together. He's just like right there to catch us when we fall. He's right here in the middle of the battle with you. He's right there in the middle of the victory with you. He's right there in the middle of the defeats with you. And he is not going to leave today. He's got us, and we can trust him for whatever we face today and every single day. For every single giant that we're going to face in our lives, he's going to be there with us, bringing us victory each and every time. We can trust him, and we can peace out. Peace out, you guys. Have a great day. See you again tomorrow.